Now let's make something that will make somebody fall in love with you. To make this pasta dish, we are going to start with 2 tablespoons of salted butter and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And in that I am sauteing about a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast. You can use thighs if you want to. And they've been seasoned really well with salt, pepper, and granulated garlic. Now you're just going to let them cook up until they're done and they start browning some. While this is cooking, you want to have about 12 to 16 ounces, depending on how many people you're feeding, of penne pasta cooking up in some boiling heavily salted water. Now our chicken is nice and done and starting to get a little brown, and you're starting to get some good browning on the bottom of your skillet, which you want. Now to add a lot of flavor to this, we have a 7-ounce jar of sun-dried tomatoes packed in oil that I've just cut into bite-sized pieces. And we have a 6.5-ounce jar of marinated artichoke hearts. Not the canned ones that are packed in water. You want the marinated ones because you want it to add flavor. And you're going to stir all that around, and it will start, just the acid from the tomatoes will start deglazing your pan immediately. You want to fry that until everything is starting to fry up really nicely, and you start to get a good smell from it, because those marinated artichoke hearts have garlic and herbs and all kinds of stuff in them, and you will start smelling some amazing smells. And remember to keep an eye on your pasta. Don't let it cook past al dente. Okay, I'm starting to get those wonderful smells now. So now I'm going to add 1 cup of chicken stock. And you want that to start cooking really nicely and start deglazing all of the brown off the bottom of your pan, and start cooking up really nicely. And we'll let that reduce just a little bit while our pasta is finishing up cooking before we finish our sauce. This is what I mean by letting the chicken stock reduce down. See, this is almost reduced down and just made a great flavor bomb glaze over all the chicken and the sun-dried tomatoes and the artichokes. And it's completely deglazed your pan and took up all the brown, all the tasty brown bits. So now you're ready for the next steps to build this beautiful sauce. But first you want to make sure that you reduce your heat down to low, because you don't want to reduce it anymore and you don't want your other ingredients to curdle. So now we are going to add 4 ounces of full fat cream cheese. And I'm just taking a spoon and cutting it in pieces with the spoon, because it will melt better into it if it's cut in chunks. But it also needs to be put out to come to room temperature. You want it softened, because it will melt in so much better if it's softened. This is to add not really as much flavor as it is to add some richness and a little bit of tang that will break up the heaviness, and it will also just add some extremely good creaminess to it. Now you want to stir this around until your cream cheese is fully melted in. At this point, where your cream cheese is almost fully melted in, you want to taste it for seasoning, because cream cheese can take away a lot of your seasoning, because it's kind of bland, so it can take away some seasoning. And we need to add a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper. I think we're good on the amount of granulated garlic. It just needs some more salt and pepper, but not much. Now the next element that you're adding is going to take away a lot of seasoning, so you may have to season again. Now we are going to build our cream sauce with adding anywhere from 1.5 to 2 cups of heavy cream. That depends on how much your stock reduced down and how much it will take. I put about 1.5 cups in there. We'll see if we need any more. Now that this is all stirred in, you want to turn your heat back up on medium-low. That way this can start cooking some too before we add the cheese. Now our pasta is done cooking, but we've also reserved about 1 cup of the starchy cooking liquid. That way, in case we need it, You don't always need it, but in case you need it, you want it there. I personally stopped at 1.5 cups of cream because it doesn't feel like it needs any more to me. Now, if you want more cream in it, then go ahead and add the full 2 cups. So at this point, we are going to add our cheese. Now, I am choosing to use Pecorino Romano. It is, if you don't like a pungent cheese, then you probably won't like Pecorino Romano because it's very pungent. It's pungent, almost a little peppery notes. If you don't like Pecorino Romano or can't find it, you can use Parmesan, but it won't have quite the same flavor. So I'm going to add about 1/2 cup or a little more of Pecorino Romano. And then we'll taste it and see if it needs more. And remember, if you are using Pecorino Romano, a little goes a long way, so you don't have to overkill with it. Be very careful with how much you add. I added about 1/2 cup. Now we have about 3 cups of roughly chopped baby spinach. This is fresh spinach. You can use frozen, but I really recommend fresh. Now you want to stir this in, and this will all wilt in very beautifully. Now, if you don't like that much spinach, put less spinach. If you don't like spinach at all, you can leave it out, but the spinach is going to add a surprising amount of flavor. But you don't want to add your pasta until your spinach is completely wilted down, which does not take long. This whole meal is going to come together very quickly. You could probably also add kale to this if you like kale, but I would actually kind of fry the kale in with the chicken and vegetables because it's a little harder and won't wilt down as fast in the sauce. Or you could do arugula, but arugula will add a lot of pepperiness to it, so you want to be careful with adding arugula. Now we are going to throw in our pasta that is nice and cooked al dente, and we'll see if we need any of that pasta water. Now you want to stir this all in, and at this point you can go ahead and turn off your heat. This meal is ready in a flash and ready to make somebody fall in love with you really quick.
What if they've already fallen in love with you?
I don't know if you guys heard Jason, but he said, what if they've already fell in love with you? This will make them fall deeper in love with you. You've all heard of the viral Marry Me chicken. What good is a marriage proposal if the person isn't in love with you? You need something to make them fall in love with you. So this is to make them fall in love with you. Now we're going to taste it to see how the seasoning is and see if we need any more Pecorino Romano or any more seasoning at all. I'm going to add just a little bit more Pecorino Romano, probably about 3 tablespoons, just for some extra punch, and some more black pepper because this sauce can take on some black pepper. Any sauce like this can usually take on a good bit of black pepper, and it just increases the flavor. And look at this amazingness. Now you look at this and tell me if somebody isn't going to fall in love with you when they eat this. People's going to look at this and say, that person can cook. And it's going to be our little secret. It was actually as easy as this. Now, you want to serve this to somebody that you want to fall in love with you because it's going to make them fall in love with you. And remember, come back next time to Angela K's Kitchen, where I take you from gourmet to everyday and everything in between. God bless.
This is a beautiful bowl of pasta. I'm excited about it. That was great. That was real good. Amazing flavor. Perfectly balanced. It's just wonderful. Angela K knew exactly what she was doing when she created this thing in her brain. You will not be sad that you made that. Angela K is an amazing cook, y'all.